reading this report is an unsettling experience, especially as an educator. When you're reading about how many teachers were killed and how many students are killed or have been killed, it's unreal. And the destruction of an educational system of learning. This is no ordinary global South educational system. 96% enrollment in the system. I mean, I'm a little familiar. Louder? Okay. I'm a little familiar with some of the educational systems in the global South, and 96% enrollment is no mean feat. And so destruction of such a system comes as a profound shock. And then again, as you were saying, the persistence of the teachers in these circumstances. It's really a credit to all educators everywhere what they have been doing. Hopefully, I mean, the people might still quibble about terminology and how to refer to what is happening but hopefully no one in the university, at least, or anywhere for that matter, will disagree that destruction of such an educational system for institutions of learning everywhere and the extinguishing of human potential in this place is something that we need to do something about. I don't remember the figures, Yusuf, but every fifth teacher essentially is being killed. And there's talk of a lost generation, a complete generation, an educational blackout. And when you lose a teacher, and many of us are teachers here, or have been to school, you will realize that it's not just an individual who can be replaced. Right? This is decades of experience, mentorship, human capacity, and so just putting a new person in will take years for them to reach that level at which things were operating. And also one of the things that was made very clear in the report was how trauma and hunger come into this. Okay, all right. How trauma and hunger come into all this, and how they increase the cost of rebuilding such a system. And you can't. And another thing that really struck me in this report was that we are not just really rebuilding or talking about rebuilding an educational system. The educational system is deeply socially embedded, and so it cannot be built without rebuilding lives in Gaza and the West Bank. And for that, of course, there are lots of numbers in the report, but you don't just need money for that. You need a lot more than money to rebuild lives in Gaza and West Bank. So, what can the university do in all this? There had been, when the war started, on a couple of years, more than 2 years ago. So there were short-term measures because there was short-term cost. There were a number of Palestinian students who needed financial help, for example, because those of them who were receiving funds from Palestine, those funds were cut off. People lost their livelihoods back there, and so on and so forth. So the university put together a £100,000 fund to help them. Then there were a number of students who had admission to Gaza. I have no idea how they managed to apply when there were bombs falling all around them. But they did. And some of these students were so bright. we gave them full scholarships to Cambridge. And we were not the only ones. Top universities in the world were all giving them full scholarships. But the problem, of course, was one that we rarely face when we admit somebody at Cambridge, which is, how do they leave their country? And because there was the British Embassy was insisting on biometrics, there was no facility for biometrics, and so it literally took us a year of lobbying. Many from Husam's team were also involved in this. There were lots of parliamentarians who were involved in this. The Foreign Secretary, the Home Secretary, and so on and so forth. And talking to those students during all this, if there was an interview, for example, with a college, or we wanted them to apply for a visa and so on and so forth, there was one girl who was literally carrying a heavy battery on her back and going to a friend's place, walking several kilometers just to have a brief chat with us there. We of course, Husam is sitting here. We have two Kara fellows at the university who we are very glad to have amongst us. And we had conversations. We have a Gates mentorship program going on, which if you're not involved, it can be. It was started by Gates scholars at Cambridge, and there are thousands of Palestinian students who are being advised and counseled and helped in applying to universities. And there have been talks, of course, with Pauline and people and Yusuf and others about rebuilding the educational sector, and of course with Husam, rebuilding the education infrastructure in Gaza. And I hope that we'll be able to make some progress on that. There are a number of different people in the country, in the world, who are working towards this goal, and there are many others who want to help. And so it's a matter of sort of bringing them together towards this end. But these are, like I said, short, medium-term bits. I mean, rebuilding that system, rebuilding lives, that will take more than that. But I look forward to working with many of you towards that goal. So I'll just stop here and pass over to you.